CBS 46 News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
Good morning to you and welcome to Public Affairs on Peach. I'm Gloria Neal, and this week, Georgia's drought. You know, fires are just one indication that North Georgia is going through a drought, and depending upon where you live, your area is going through an extreme or exceptional drought, and it's going to take a while to get out of it. Well, get this. We are going to be talking about the drought during this next half hour of Public Affairs on Peach, and who better to do that and set the stage? CBS 46 meteorologist Paul Ozma. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you as well.
You know, if memory serves me correctly, it wasn't too long ago that we were talking about Lake Lanier being full, and now what a difference a season makes.
You know, and it's not, we got to put this in context. I've been here about 29 years. I've seen a few different droughts that have come through here. I remember how critical it was in 2007, where I was doing a story and actually walking, you know, about 40 feet into Lake Lanier, that it was just dust and dry, and looking at a marker that it should have been at least 4 to 5 feet of water over my head.
Wow.
So we were looking at that. So the big concern was where we were going to run out of water. And looking ahead and looking forward to 2008 and just hoping that we could break the pattern. You know what broke that pattern? Normal rainfall.
Yeah.
The problem is that we've got to get this rainfall that we get consistently.
Right.
We can't get it early part of the year and just hope that it'll help with the back half.
Right.
Because it depends on where you get it. I mean, we have a lot of dry times of year like October.
Right.
Now that we get into November, December, a little bit wetter, so
Right.
hopefully that'll help the situation. We've been a lot worse than we are today, so I want to make you aware of that. And it seems like I was just calculating, almost every 6-7 years we get into a pattern where we're watching the lake, where we have these fires,
right.
and where it just gets really dry.
And so it's not a matter of just getting this huge deluge and then we're back. It's really a matter of just steady rain, right? Just getting that.
You know what breaks droughts, and we saw this back in 1993 where we were in a drought, and in '94 we got a lot of us might remember this tropical storm Alberto that came around in July, and it really dumped a lot of rain across the area. But that was heavy flooding rains. We don't need that kind of situation, although it can help break a drought. We just need to get normal rainfall back, and the patterns that we've seen lately is that we've been in a very dry pattern.
Absolutely. Is there a silver lining, Paul? Some people say, well, okay, my goodness, it is so dry. Is there any good to come from this?
Well, I know last year and the year before, just from a weatherman's perspective, as people were saying, are we ever going to get 3 or 4 consecutive sunny days so we can go out and enjoy the great outdoors? Well, we've had a lot of days this year. And so the last few years, we've been talking about a lot of rain, hardly any mention of drought, hardly any smog days, and it turns around like this every few years. I guess the silver lining in this time is a lot of the water usage that normally during the growing season we don't have to worry about now because we're going into the colder months. But if we don't break this with normal rainfall or above normal rainfall, next year we could be in a very critical situation where we start to see those water restrictions like we've seen many times.
Well, I was going to ask you, you start talking about watering restrictions. I mean, you look at, if we're going to think about watering restrictions for lawns, those kinds of things, is that a possibility if we don't see
I think it is. I never thought it was a bad idea to continue it, but I guess you can use water as you will when you're not in a situation like that, when you start to see the lake above full pool, you know, when it's full. But it's always a good idea to conserve water, whether we're in a drought or not in a drought.
Right.
Sure.
But when we see Lake Lanier like we've seen it before, and I know you talked about some years ago where you could actually walk into Lake Lanier, you've seen it worse than it looks now. Right,
exactly. I think that right now it's 1062, which is 1,062 feet above sea level.
Right.
Full is 1071. I saw it when it was 1050, so I saw it 11 feet less than it is right now. And it's not only Lake Lanier. I mean, you're talking about property, you're talking about businesses along Lake Lanier, and you also talk about Lake Hartwell, Lake Allatoona, all these lakes that are around the area. And no one likes to drive near a lake and just see barren and see, oh, the water used to come up here when it's full. Now, we know it's going to recover, just to how soon and what has to happen and what kind of consequences there will be until it recovers.
So it is so interesting for people to see the lake like that and think, oh my gosh, but actually when you think back, it helps keep it in perspective.
It does. I think people who own property along Lake Lanier have been through a few of these before. Some even tell me that they don't even like the lake full. They like about 5 feet. in, so they have a little shoreline.
Yeah.
So it looks better for their property, but they certainly don't like it 12 feet
Right.
or 20 feet below that, because that gets critical, and that's when they have to start moving their docks back and forth or even give up boating at all.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much,
You're so
Paul.
welcome. Let's hope we get some rain.
I know.
Yeah,
Let's
we need
hope
it.
so. Do that rain dance
Yeah.
or something. Well, as North Georgia begs for rain, there is a fight taking place over the water that is in Lake Lanier. We'll explore that battle when Public Affairs on Peach returns. Thanks.